Good evening. On tonight's broadcast, more and more struggles and problems have been coming out since the implementation of the Affordable Health Care Act on October 1st. And now the country is starting to see some of the backlash of those problems. Also tonight, we will have information on the horrific typhoon in the Philippines and some disastrous weather here in the States. And we will pay tribute to a major historical anniversary that's just around the corner. I'm Megan Roberts, and this is The Rundown. President Barack Obama met with insurance company execs at the White House on Friday. Many of them are furious over his plan to reestablish health plans. His once slammed. Meanwhile, the House approved a bill to extend those plans. Shannon Travis has an update from Washington.
Thursday, President Obama apologized again for Americans on the individual health market losing their plans because of Obamacare.
I completely get how upsetting this can be for a lot of Americans.
And offered a fix that could let them keep those plans for a year. Friday, after rejecting a Democratic proposal for a fix, House lawmakers approved a GOP bill to extend the plans.
Chairman Upton's plan aims to help Americans keep their health insurance.
Some 40 Democrats voted for the bill despite warnings from their own party.
This is just the 46th Republican attempt to strip Americans of their access to affordable health insurance.
The bill has little chance in the Democratic-controlled Senate, and the White House threatens a veto. Meanwhile, at the White House, an afternoon meeting between Obama and insurance company CEOs. Surely dominating their agenda, will insurers choose to or even be able to reinstate those canceled individual policies? Many of those plans were deemed inadequate by Obamacare standards. Insurers say it won't be easy to undo changes they've already made. Adding to the uncertainty, state regulators could veto renewal of canceled plans since insurance is regulated on the state level. In Washington, I'm Shannon Travis.
President Obama has been receiving a lot of backlash from the popular slogan, "If you like your health care, you can keep it." Well, this Friday, the House voted on a bill to address the big problem of Obamacare, the now canceled insurance plans. As Dana Bash reports, it was a stinging vote for the White House.
39 House Democrats, 1/5 of the caucus, defected and voted for a Republican bill allowing people to keep canceled health policies. Democrat Ron Barber, in a tough re-election campaign next year, was one of them.
I've been home and meeting with constituents. This has been a topic of concern and conversation. So I wanted to vote yes to let my constituents know that I heard what they had to say.
That despite warnings from Democratic leaders that the GOP bill would dismantle Obamacare by not only allowing consumers to keep canceled policies, but also letting people sign up for new policies that do not meet new benefit requirements.
That idea that it was helping consumers was sort of the Trojan horse whose underbelly is poisonous in terms of the health and well-being of the American people.
Your leadership says that your vote would undercut the entire Obamacare law.
Well, I don't see it that way. I mean, I think any fix that we can make, particularly when a problem arises, is good for the people that back home. And the truth of the matter is, look, I'm accountable to the people who sent me here.
The prospect of this GOP vote is the main reason the president came out a day earlier with his own plan to reinstate canceled insurance policies. Democratic sources admit without that, many more Democrats would have defected. But the GOP bill still got significant bipartisan support, and Republicans were eager to pour salt on the president's political wounds.
Ask not what your country can do for you. The only thing we have to fear, tear down this wall. And our current president will be no different. If you like your health care plan, you can keep it, period.
Democrats who lead the Senate have indicated they won't bring up new Obamacare legislation for a vote. Instead, they want to see how the president's approach works. So why the sudden turnaround on the part of 30...
Barely done explaining his Obamacare fix when his chief of staff arrived on Capitol Hill to sell it to worried Democrats, especially those on the ballot next year.
This isn't about elections. This is about making sure people have affordable health care.
Dennis McDonough knows full well it's about both. A big reason the president is now asking insurance companies to reinstate consumers' canceled health plans is to calm congressional Democrats worried about voter backlash. How do you describe the atmosphere in the meeting that you just had with White House officials?
Strongly focused, constructive, but clearly dissatisfied with the current state of the program.
Republicans were eager to highlight the president's falling poll numbers, especially on the issue of trust.
Promise after promise from this administration has turned out to be not true. So when it comes to this health care law, the White House doesn't have much credibility.
And some Democrats in the toughest re-election battles worry about that too, especially since the president's plan only asks insurance companies to restore canceled health policies and doesn't require it, like legislation would.
We want to make sure it's clear to the American people and to Alaskans, the 4,000 Alaskans that have had cancellation notices, that they can keep the plan.
Still, at the behest of the White House, Senate Democratic leaders are now holding off on legislative action to give the president's plan a chance. 6 Democratic senators have now signed on to Mary Landrieu's legislation, which would require insurance companies to keep offering existing plans permanently, not just a year, as the president wants. Is he going far enough, and are you going to continue to push for a legislative fix?
The president's guidance was welcome and well received. We still may have to fashion some legislation.
On Friday, Democrats in the House will offer a legislative fix, but that's only because Republicans in the House will hold a vote on a bill Democrats say will dismantle Obamacare, and they want an alternative to vote for. The political pressure on Democrats around this Republican vote is what was driving the presidential timing on his announcement that he's trying to fix his broken promise. Dana Bash, CNN, Capitol Hill.
Joining me tonight to discuss the major issues with Obamacare and how it has affected both of the parties is political analyst Kevin Carr. Kevin, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Megan.
So I want to start with just your overall reaction over the last month and a half to the installment of the Affordable Health Care Act and how you've seen that played out in the country.
I think the biggest thing right now is the fact that Obama appears to have just blatantly lied. His administration, whoever's fault it is, there was a lie told to the people that they could keep their health insurance plan. Multiple times it was reiterated if they liked it. And many people, I think, are very shocked that they are not going to keep their health insurance plan if they like it, if it doesn't completely cooperate with the standards under the Affordable Health Care Act. However, the administration did do something positive by allowing an extension of about a year, I believe, for people who, were informed suddenly that their health care policy would expire, that it will indeed continue, but after that first year, will they be forced to buy government insurance? That remains to be seen, but right now that seems to be the biggest issue with the Obamacare situation.
Over the last few years, since Obamacare has been talked about, has been debated, there have been a lot of exceptions made along the way as far as who's going to fall under, being necessarily qualified to have Obamacare, who needs to sign up for the Affordable Health Care Act. And he's, said that, members of Congress don't need, they're not expected to sign up for the Affordable Health Care Act, and there's been extensions put on enacting the bill. What does this say? And now we have another exception that, the main part of the bill that requires certain requirements for health care to be established, now those are even being delayed. What does this say about the overall appeal and the overall image of the Affordable Health Care Act?
Well, you mentioned that certain government leaders don't necessarily have to be forced to sign up, and I think that's just blatant hypocrisy. As a leader of the American people, this is supposed to be a government, remember, that is by the people, for the people. So if you don't support something that you're forcing the American people to purchase and go into, then should you really be pushing that forward? And I don't think that's a great example as leaders who are supposed to represent the people if they don't buy into it, but yet they tell us we have to buy into Obamacare. Excuse me.
Do you think that the new bill that they are working on in the House is going to, a lot of people have said that if this gets passed, it's going to undercut a lot of the fundamental principles of the Affordable Health Care bill. Do you think that's going to be the case?
If you're just allowing some people to keep their health insurance that they already had, I don't think it'll be too destructive necessarily. But I do understand why many Democrats want people to be forced to buy into health insurance. In order for many sick people to get coverage, you need a lot of healthy people to get covered as well to help pay into it. Otherwise, the system doesn't tend to work out.
Yeah, one of the groups of people that they have been relying most on is young, healthy people who they're expecting and hoping will buy into this system, and that hasn't really been the case so far. They're still pulling the numbers together. Of course, the enrollment numbers come November have been very low. They say that was to be expected, though. Were you surprised by the low enrollment numbers?
Not entirely, but what remains to be seen is I believe there were reports that fines will be given to people if they don't purchase into it eventually. Is that correct?
Yes, if they don't, they have until March 31st and to buy into the system, to enroll into the system, and then they will be taxed if they decide not to have, if they decide to stay uninsured, if they decide not to have health care at all, they will be taxed after March 31st, which was debated, which was the main debate, you know, when we saw it go to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court did say that that was constitutional, so yes, that is going to be a major part of it, but they do have until March 31st to enroll in the health care plan or to get some form of health care coverage.
I mean, this is in very early stages so far, so it remains to be seen just how much more enrollment will take place, and the March 31st deadline that you mentioned, I think we have more that remains to be seen as to what exactly happens to a lot of the American people that will be affected by this, but one of the concerns of since we're talking about who's affected is the middle class. Many of the middle class families are going to be hit hard. The ones who barely earn enough to pay for this health insurance and don't make too little enough to get as many benefits and subsidies as lower income families do.
Well, we're going to definitely be keeping a close watch on middle class families and see what the enrollment numbers will look like coming to that. But what do you think happens when this year is up? This extension that Obama has given. What do you think happens after the year is up?
I'm guessing that then Democrats might try to have a push for, you know, not allowing people to keep their current plans. I don't think it'll be something grandfathered in necessarily, because Democrats seem very opposed to it in the beginning altogether, and I'm guessing after this year it's probably not going to
another heated debate that we're going to have.
Most likely.
Well, Kevin is going to join me later on in the broadcast to continue this highly controversial conversation. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have the latest on the devastating typhoon that has cost thousands of lives in the Philippines, as well as deadly storms ripping through the Midwest.
Hey Laker fans, remember the following. Be loud, be proud, be funny, be civil. Above all, be positive. We've cleaned up our act on the ice. Now it's your turn to clean up yours in the stands.
Malcolm, you know energy savers last 6 times longer than regular bulbs. This isn't my room. It's Baron Davis's. The basketball player? This is his room?
I don't live here.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
So, do you have any questions?
What is your soup of the day?
We have a mulligatawny soup.
Oh, do you have any specials?
We have a steak special today.
Oh, how's that cooked?
That's pan-seared and then...
Does it come with a side dish? Is it grilled? Can I have it steamed? So, what do you recommend? What kind of pie do you have? You're an actor. Aren't you from Ohio?
Any questions?
Ask questions. For the 10 questions everyone should know, go to ahrq.gov.
I got Nicole's solution. Shocking drugs that road all the time. Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear. We're just buzzed. Just buzzed? You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really? No, not really.
Buzz driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.
Good evening and welcome back to the Rundown. Much of the Typhoon Haiyan relief effort has been focused on Tacloban, ground zero for the storm's arrival in the Philippines. Anna Corinne reports while the aid comes in, thousands of people are desperate to get out.
Under dark, gloomy skies, another C-130 comes into land at the epicenter of the worst natural disaster to hit the Philippines. The Royal Australian Air Force dropping off another load of supplies and humanitarian workers in Tacloban, one of dozens of countries that has come to help. On the tarmac, piles of aid stack up as more aircraft fly in.
It's chaotic, but every day we're improving. Every day the logistical systems are getting more refined, and we're really seeing a lot of in and out at the warehouse. So things aren't sitting here. They're really going out to affected communities.
While in the terminal, thousands converge, desperate to jump on any flight to escape this living hell.
I just don't know what to do right now. All I can think about is my daughters, and then I just have to save them first.
But not everyone is leaving. As we travel along the road from the airport, life continues amongst the debris and devastation. Lining up for their rations of water, rice and sardines, their resilience shines through.
I'm happy. So other country help us. We're very much thankful to the other country who are helping us. Thank you very, very much.
As you can see, there is virtually nothing left here in Tacloban City. The people who have decided to stay here are relying on the aid and donations of international organisations. Just look at this line. These people have been queuing for several hours for rice and sardines that will have to last their families for several days. As to how long these people will have to do this, nobody really knows.
Yeah.
We come across 36-year-old Gary Carnell, who shows us where he used to live.
There in my house, and my mom, and my neighbor, and my sister. Here in my sister house is done. Nothing left.
But his uncle, who never expected his family to survive, is far more optimistic.
We love Tacloban. I love Tacloban. I was born here in Tacloban, and I want to die in this place.
Back at the airport, another day draws to an end, but nothing stops on the tarmac. This is an operation of endurance and a commitment to the long road ahead. Anna Corinne, CNN, Tacloban, the Philippines.
Ever wonder where Batman's Gotham City really is? Well, at least for Friday, it was San Francisco, and a crime wave swept the city. A very special 5-year-old superhero was called in to save the day. Dan Simone reports it's all for a good cause.
5-year-old Miles will become a superhero. The little boy from Siskiyou County will transform into Bat-Kid. But he doesn't know it yet. He thinks he's in San Francisco to get a Batman costume, thanks to Make-A-Wish Greater Bay Area.
Your wish was to be Batman?
Yeah.
Why do you like Batman so much?
Because he's my favorite superhero.
Miles has lived with leukemia since he was just 18 months old. Now he's in remission and ready to really start being a kid.
Watch this. Batman flip.
This new chapter in Miles's life will kick off when he sees an urgent message from some familiar faces.
We begin this morning's broadcast with breaking news from San Francisco's Hall of Justice.
Please, Cape Crusader, we need you. And bring the Bat-Kid.
Police Chief Greg Suhr will need Bat-Kid's help to rescue a damsel in distress, capture the Riddler, and chase down the Penguin to save Lucille, the Giants' mascot. Then there will be one last hurrah for Bat-Kid at City Hall. Mayor Ed Lee will present Miles with the key to the city. The entire Bay Area has come together to make Miles's wish come true. A local inventor created this device for him to disarm. And a very generous Lamborghini owner is providing the Batmobile. Mom Natalie and Dad Nick are extremely thankful.
It's really neat to see how many people have got together for a stranger they don't know and show support for. It's heartwarming.
You can already see how San Francisco is becoming Gotham City. Check out the Batman logo on the Grand Hyatt on Union Square.
It's a big party at the end of a long road.
A party that's well-deserved.
And actually, President Obama took some time off from politics to send out a Vine to Miles that said, "Way to go, Miles." We're going to take a quick break and let you go dry your eyes after that one. When we come back, we will pay tribute to the upcoming anniversary of one of the darkest moments in our country's history. Stay with us. You're watching The Rundown.
The forest is precious. One careless act caused by people and its beauty could be gone for a lifetime. Protect our friends in the forest.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The forest is precious. One careless act caused by people and its beauty could be gone for a lifetime. Protect our friends in the forest.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The Hollywood View is back with a brand new season and a brand new look. Join me for non-stop Hollywood coverage news right here on WTOP 10 every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m.
Hi, I'm CNN's Rob Marciano, and you're watching WTOP 10, your television station.
Every night before the show, me and the guys, we like to loosen up a little bit.
Blue, 42, hike!
Every now and then, Dan likes to take it a little too far. But hey, the show's all about competition, so we'll take it.
Stupid Dan with stupid football and stupid running.
Thanks. You believe this guy?
Are you trying to start a wildfire?
Sorry.
Pass the honey?
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to The Rundown. One of Hollywood's movie stars reflects upon his memories from when President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Tom Hanks produced the CNN documentary, The 60s, The Assassination of President Kennedy, which reflects upon how the media covered one of the most important days in U.S. history, and how their coverage has impacted generations years after the event. He remembers thinking how unreal the whole thing felt.
I remembered thinking that this doesn't happen in the real world. A president doesn't get shot in front of everybody the way John F. Kennedy was. Now, at 7 years old, I'm barely even a socially conscious being. But the overpowering sadness of every adult I came across was rattling.
What will the film show us?
Well, the stuff we're doing for CNN is really taking how television covered these great moments, both of history and sort of like society.
Marking the 50th anniversary of the assassination of JFK, CNN's The 60s, The Assassination of President Kennedy was #1 in cable news Thursday night. The documentary was also produced by Emmy Award-winning executive producer Gary Goetzman and Emmy Award-winning producer Mark Hergods. Well, following the break, Kevin Carr will rejoin me to continue our conversation on Obamacare. Stay with us. You're watching The Rundown.
Get your Smokey on. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Because 9 out of 10 wildfires can be prevented.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Down 70 to 35, and the Cougars were getting smoked like a cheap cigar.
Hey guys, you should watch our show on WITUP.
What? You mean WTOP?
No, it's WITUP.
No, it's WTOP.
Who told you that?
Common sense?
mailbox, and the traffic light. Both are ideas from the minds of African Americans. Support the United Negro College Fund, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
This can't be happening. This can't be happening.
Of course it's not happening. Armored car. Listen, having money isn't about luck. Make your own coffee, save $1,000 a year. Feed me. Feed the pig.
Welcome back to The Rundown. I'm Megan Roberts. Joining me once again tonight is political analyst Kevin Carr. Kevin, thank you for joining me again tonight.
Always a pleasure.
So earlier we were talking about the Affordable Health Care Act and how it has just been a complete mess, we can say, since its rollout. Between the website, between the popular slogan, if you like your health care, you can keep it, which has proven to not be true exactly. But what's interesting is it's a very small group of people who actually have lost their health care, and it's because they don't meet the standard requirements set forth by the Affordable Health Care Act. Do you think that this is something to really hone in on and look at as to what the requirements are? Do you think the requirements are too strict, too narrow, and some of them shouldn't be part of it at all?
I would say it's probably more along the lines of too strict, and just the cost is going to be very high, and of course with this it's a lot of regulation, heavy regulation of government, intervention with our health part of our lives, and I would argue that it is more strict, more as opposed to less, and it's going to be expensive. A lot of the issue with this was that this will decrease the cost of health care, decrease the cost of health insurance for people, but a lot of experts, and of course Republicans argue this till the cows come home, that it will actually be the opposite. It'll be more expensive. So that's another issue here. Lots of taxation.
Sure. I mean, we've been hearing both sides of the argument. One says it's going to be more expensive. One says it's going to be less expensive. Bottom line is that they say the main goal of the entire Health Care Act was to make sure that people who were uninsured are getting insurance at an affordable cost. So do you think that, if there are millions of people who do enroll in the healthcare system, that they like it, that they are finally getting health care, and to turn around a year from now, let's say that we see Republicans take control in 2014 and they decide to draw back a lot of the things that have been put forth by the Affordable Health Care Act, do you think that millions of people who have gotten health care from this and are now getting that taken away would be really upset, and it would actually hurt the Republicans to mess with it too much?
If Obamacare ends up being successful, which I would question as to how successful it could possibly become, perhaps people won't complain as much, but I would argue that government health care is less efficient, more costly, and has less quality than health care in a private system, in a more free market. Private health insurance has quicker service and better options to choose from. More competition means better quality because insurance companies are competing to get customers. Therefore, quality has to be up, costs go down. Employees in the healthcare system get higher salaries. There are more benefits, I would argue, with a private healthcare minded system as opposed to government healthcare system, which has government telling you your options, sometimes against your will, longer waits, and decreased quality.
Do you think that, real quick, do you think that there are parts of the Affordable Health Care Act, though, that shouldn't be touched? Were there any benefits that came out of this, in your opinion, that that shouldn't be touched, that should just be left alone? Real quick.
Hard to say for sure. I just think that a lot of the taxes that are being implemented, such as on medical devices, on hospitals, on nurses, those are things that I think are going to cripple many aspects of the healthcare industry. And who's going to pay for it? The taxpayer, of course. And a lot of people who have health insurance now, such as lower middle income families, are going to struggle the most.
All right, well, we will continue to follow this. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Roberts.